Have you ever looked at your sad, droopy tomato seedlings and wondered why they do not look like those perfect, sturdy plants at the nursery? Today, we are diving into a secret that will change your gardening game forever. We are talking about fertilizing vegetable seedlings using just three common household items: milk, baking soda, and a tiny drop of iodine. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never want to waste your money on expensive chemical fertilizers ever again. But here's the hook. Do you actually think those bright blue laboratory chemicals are better for your food than natural ingredients? It is time to rethink everything we know about feeding plants. I'm going to reveal a completely counterintuitive method that creates an explosive growth spurt in young tomatoes. Get ready for a major plot twist in your spring planting routine. Let me know in the comments right now, are you team organic or team chemical fertilizer? Let us debate. Before we mix our magic potion, let us understand why seedlings struggle in the first place. Historically, gardeners did not have access to synthetic liquid feeds. They relied entirely on observing nature and using whatever they had in their kitchens to support their crops. Young tomato seedlings are incredibly fragile. When we grow them indoors or in small pots, they are trapped in a tiny amount of soil. Very quickly, they eat up all the available nutrients and start to starve. This is when their stems get weak, their leaves turn pale yellow, and they become prime targets for nasty fungal diseases. We need to recreate a rich, protective environment for them. The concepts we are using today revolve around calcium for cell structure, pH manipulation for disease control, and metabolic stimulation. It sounds like complex chemistry, but it is actually the oldest, most traditional form of agriculture in the world. Now let us get into the exact ingredients that make this possible. Let us start with the first surprising ingredient in our secret formula, which is ordinary milk. You might be wondering why on earth you would pour milk on your precious tomato seedlings. Well, the answer lies in biology. Milk is packed with calcium, vitamins, and beneficial proteins. Just imagine you are feeding a growing child. That child needs calcium to build strong bones. Your young tomato plants are exactly the same, but instead of bones, they are building cell walls and sturdy stems. When you provide them with this natural source of calcium, you are literally reinforcing their structure from the inside out. There is a very common myth floating around the gardening community that using dairy products will just make your soil sour and smell terrible. But let me debunk that right now. When diluted properly with water, milk does not rot or smell bad in the soil. Instead, it feeds the beneficial microbes living in the dirt. These microscopic helpers break down the milk proteins into food that the plant roots can easily absorb. Plus, milk contains natural sugars that give your plants a quick energy boost. Think of it as a healthy protein shake after a good workout. Your seedlings will absorb these nutrients and immediately start pushing out greener, healthier leaves. It is completely organic, incredibly cheap, and you probably already have it sitting in your refrigerator right now. Moving on to our next household hero, let us talk about baking soda. Now, what does baking soda actually do for young plants? It is not just for making your cookies rise or cleaning your kitchen sink. In the garden, baking soda acts as an incredible natural defense system. Young tomato seedlings are highly vulnerable to fungal infections. Have you ever seen your tiny plants suddenly fall over and die overnight? That is a fungal disease called damping off, and it is a gardener's worst nightmare. Baking soda comes to the rescue by slightly altering the pH level on the surface of the plant and the top layer of the soil. Fungal spores absolutely hate this alkaline environment. Think of it as putting up an invisible force field around your tomatoes. When a bad spore lands on the leaf, it simply cannot survive or multiply. There is a myth that baking soda will add too much sodium to your soil and poison your plants. This is only true if you dump the whole box into the pot. When used in tiny measured amounts, it is completely safe. By adding just a fraction of a teaspoon to our mixture, we are giving the tomatoes a gentle shield. Imagine giving your plants a protective umbrella before a heavy rainstorm of diseases. They stay safe, dry, and ready to grow without fighting off invisible enemies. This simple white powder is your best friend for raising stress-free vegetables. But the real game changer in this magic potion is iodine. Yes, the exact same dark liquid you might use on a scratched knee. You only need a single drop, but this one drop works absolute miracles. Iodine is a powerful trace element that plays a huge role in the metabolism of your tomato seedlings. It helps the plant absorb nitrogen much more efficiently. Nitrogen is the engine of green growth. So, when you add iodine, you are essentially upgrading your plant's engine so it can run faster and smoother. Think of it like giving a shot of espresso to a very sleepy plant. It wakes up, its metabolism speeds up, and it starts growing vigorously. Many people believe the myth that iodine is strictly a medical product and has no place in agriculture. In reality, commercial farmers have known about the benefits of trace iodine for decades. It also acts as a mild natural antiseptic in the soil, keeping harmful bacteria in check while letting the good bacteria thrive. Just picture a tiny microscopic doctor cleaning up the root zone, making sure everything is perfectly healthy. Moreover, plants that receive this tiny boost of iodine tend to produce fruit that ripens faster and tastes sweeter later in the season. It is a tiny investment of just one drop, but the payoff is absolutely massive for the overall health of your garden. So, how do we bring all these powerful elements together? Let us break down the exact recipe, step by step. Precision is key here, because we want to feed the plants, not overwhelm them. You will need a container that holds exactly 1 liter of clean, room temperature water. Please make sure the water is not freezing cold straight from the tap, as this will shock the tender roots of your seedlings. To this 1 liter of water, add exactly 100 milliliters of regular milk. Any fat percentage will work, but low-fat milk is usually the easiest to mix. Next, sprinkle in half a teaspoon of baking soda. Finally, add exactly 1 drop of iodine. Just 1 drop. Do not be tempted to add 2 or 3 drops thinking it will work better. Remember the idea of baking a delicate cake. Every single ingredient must be in perfect balance, or the whole recipe fails. Once everything is in the water, stir it very gently until the baking soda is completely dissolved and the liquid turns a pale, cloudy color. The water will take on a very faint, pleasant smell. You have just created a premium, organic fertilizer for mere pennies. Compare this to those highly expensive, bright blue chemical powders you see at the garden center. You are providing calcium, disease protection, and a metabolic boost all in one simple jar, completely free of harsh synthetic chemicals. Knowing exactly when to apply this homemade elixir is just as important as mixing the recipe correctly. You cannot just pour it on your plants whenever you feel like it. The absolute best time to treat your tomato seedlings is early in the morning or late in the evening. Why is this so crucial? Well, if you spray or water your plants in the middle of the day when the sun is shining brightly, the liquid drops will act like tiny magnifying glasses on the leaves. The intense sunlight will burn holes right through the delicate plant tissue. Imagine going to the beach at noon without any sunscreen on. You would get a terrible sunburn, and your plants will suffer the exact same fate. By applying the mixture in the early morning, you give the leaves plenty of time to absorb the nutrients before the hot sun arrives. If you choose the evening, the plant can slowly drink in the calcium and iodine all night long while it rests. Also, you should only apply this fertilizer once every 2 weeks. There is a common myth that organic fertilizers can be used every single day because they are natural. That is a dangerous lie. Even natural ingredients can overload a small plant if used constantly. Patience is your best friend here. Treat them gently, wait 2 weeks, and watch them respond with incredible, sturdy growth. You might be wondering right now, should I pour this magic mixture directly into the soil, or should I spray it directly onto the leaves? The great news is that you can do both, but they serve very different purposes. Let us talk about foliar feeding first. When you put this liquid into a spray bottle and mist the leaves, the plant absorbs the nutrients almost instantly through tiny pores on its surface. It is the fastest way to get calcium and iodine into their system. Think of it like taking an emergency vitamin drop under your tongue for immediate energy. It acts fast and cures deficiencies quickly. On the other hand, watering the soil, which is called root feeding, provides a slow and steady supply of food. The roots soak up the milk proteins and send them up the main stem over several days. This builds long-term strength and improves the soil quality at the same time. For the absolute best results, I highly recommend alternating between the two methods. Spray the leaves 1 week, and then 2 weeks later, pour a little bit into the soil. Imagine eating a good meal to fill your stomach, and then drinking a sports drink for quick hydration. You are attacking the problem from both angles, ensuring your tomato seedlings have absolutely everything they need to thrive both inside and out. Even with a recipe this simple, let us talk about the biggest mistakes people make so you can easily avoid them. The number one disaster I see is the mindset that more is always better. People see how well one drop of iodine works, so they decide to put in 5 drops, hoping for a giant monster plant. Do not do this. Overloading the mixture with iodine will literally burn the root hairs off your seedlings, stopping their growth completely. Taking too many vitamins can make a human very sick, and the exact same logic applies to your delicate plants. The second major mistake is using tap water that is heavily chlorinated. Chlorine kills bacteria, which is great for drinking water, but terrible for our organic milk mixture. We need the beneficial microbes to stay alive. If you only have tap water, fill your watering can and let it sit uncovered on the counter for 24 hours. The chlorine will naturally evaporate into the air, making the water perfectly safe for your garden. Think of it as letting a hot cup of tea cool down before you drink it. It just requires a little bit of patience. Also, never apply this mixture to plants that are completely bone dry and wilting. Always make sure the soil is slightly damp before you add any fertilizer, so the roots are ready to drink safely without being shocked. Finally, what exactly should you expect to see after treating your plants with this milk, soda, and iodine mixture? Within just a few days of the first application, you will notice a dramatic shift in the color of the leaves. They will turn a rich, deep, dark green. This means the chlorophyll is working at maximum capacity, pulling in sunlight and creating energy. Next, take a close look at the main stem of the tomato seedling. Instead of being pale, thin, and floppy, it will start to thicken up rapidly. It will become robust and slightly fuzzy. Compare a flimsy, wet paper straw to a sturdy, thick wooden stick. That wooden stick is exactly what your stems will begin to feel like. They will easily be able to support their own weight without bending over. You will also notice that diseases simply bypass your pots. While other gardeners are complaining about white mold or wilting leaves, your little green soldiers will stand tall and proud, fully protected by their baking soda shield. By the time it is warm enough to transplant them out into the main garden, they will be practically bursting out of their pots with vital energy. You have essentially trained them like Olympic athletes, preparing them for a long, heavy season of producing massive, juicy tomatoes for your family. And there you have it, the ultimate turning point for your spring garden. By simply combining water, a splash of milk, a pinch of baking soda, and a single drop of iodine, you have created a world-class organic fertilizer right in your own kitchen. The significance of this goes way beyond just saving money. You are building plants that have naturally thicker cell walls, a built-in resistance to deadly fungal diseases, and a hyperactive metabolism ready to produce pounds of delicious tomatoes. It is truly amazing that the most powerful solutions are often hiding right inside our kitchen cabinets. Thank you so much for watching and learning with me today. If you found this secret recipe helpful, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and share it with your gardening friends. I would love to hear from you. What is the weirdest household item you have ever used in your garden, and did it actually work? Drop your stories in the comments below and let us keep growing together.